Perfect. And then I'm going to share my screen with you guys for a moment. Cool. So my name is Tim Fitzpatrick. Name of my company is Rialto Marketing. I am facilitating this Ask Me Anything workshop for SCORE Denver. So whole purpose here is to get your marketing questions answered. So don't be bashful, just ask away, and I will do my absolute best to answer any and all questions that come up. So, yep, got that. Perfect. So real quick, I'd just like to go through a few quick slides to make sure that we're all on the same page. First is the definition of marketing. To me, I like to keep things real simple. Marketing is getting someone who has a need or a problem you can solve to know, like, and trust you. So the job of your marketing is to warm people up so that they get comfortable to take that next step in actually doing business with you. A lot of people overcomplicate marketing. It's very easy to do, right? But marketing, it shouldn't be difficult. You need the right plan. And when you have a plan, you know what you need to focus on and what you're going to execute on. To me, marketing success is all about the fundamentals. The fundamentals in any discipline don't change. They're the same. Marketing fundamentals were the same 50 years ago as they are today, and they're going to be the same 50 years from now. I love this quote from Michael Jordan. He said, get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. Okay. A lot of people skip the fundamentals and they wonder why their marketing is not working. It's not working because you skip something in the fundamentals. There's 3 fundamentals as far as I'm concerned. Your target market, so who are you trying to serve? Who are your ideal clients? Your messaging, so what you say and how you say it, and then having a plan. You have to have some type of plan to follow. This image talks about touches on the different elements, different channels within marketing. Most tactics will fall into one of these 7 things. So at the center is strategy, right? Those fundamentals, your ideal client, your message. Then you've got website, you have offline marketing, so direct mail, speaking, networking, those types of things. Content, search engine optimization, social media management, email marketing, and pay-per-click advertising or online advertising. Okay, things like Google ads, Facebook ads, those types of things. Almost any tactic you can think of from a marketing standpoint is going to fall into one of these 7 channels. Don't feel like you have to be involved in every single one of these channels. You do not. There are people that have built very successful businesses with 1 or 2 of these channels. So don't get overwhelmed. So I have a few resources at the end of this. If you want some of the free resources, my slide deck, the recording, all you need to do is go to this link. I will post this link in the chat. And my contact info is here if you want that as well. So let me do a couple things here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to post that in the chat to everyone. When you go to that page, this is what it looks like. Put in your name, your email, click Get Resources. I'm going to tell you, you are going to go on our email list when you do this. If all you want are the resources, that's okay. Just get the resource link and unsubscribe. You're not going to hurt my feelings. If you stay subscribed, you're going to get weekly information to help you grow your business. There's marketing, business operational tips, all kinds of stuff. We have a podcast that we put out weekly. We put out blog content consistently. So a lot of resources to help you grow your business there. At the free resources, there's a lot of things that focus on the fundamentals. So this is what you're going to get access to when you opt into that. So if you want those, opt in. If you don't, that's okay too. So that's enough about that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to jump into the chat and start going. So got a few questions. If you guys have more, just post them in there and I'm going to start getting through them. So John asked, what do you recommend as the most affordable social media channels to use and why for small businesses? So this is a pretty loaded question, but I'll do my best to answer it. So social media in general, I mean, it's affordable because you don't have to pay to get, to sign up for any of these social media channels. Where you have to start paying right now is to get exposure. 10 years ago, social media, you could put up a status update and a lot of your fans would see that. Nowadays, most of your fans do not see that. So what we call that is organic reach. The organic reach on almost every social channel at this point is so low. The number of people that are going to see your posts naturally without you having to pay for it is really, really low. So social media in general, if you want to get a lot of exposure, has become very much pay to play. So if you want your message in front of people, a lot of times you're going to have to pay for it. Now, I will tell you, there are some exceptions there, I think. A lot of the social channels right now love video, and especially live video. So if you're comfortable doing live video, you can get very good organic reach and start to get really good engagement on live video. So places like LinkedIn, Facebook Live, Instagram is doing it. We use Facebook Live. I like that a lot. But what social channels you should be on all come back to your target market. So your ideal clients, where are they? You want to be wherever they are. So if they're on Facebook, you want to be there. If they're on LinkedIn, you want to be there. What I would tell you is don't get overwhelmed. A lot of times business owners feel like, oh my God, I've got to be on these 5 social media channels. And they try to be on all 5 at once and they don't do any of them well. Start with 1 or 2. Focus on doing a good job, posting consistently, engaging, interacting with people, and building up a following there before you start to expand and broaden things. Because if you go too broad too early, you're just going to spread yourself too thin and not do a great job. What I will tell you in general, just making a huge assumption here on most target markets, most people are on Facebook. So I think you're going to have a hard time going wrong being on Facebook. If you are in the business to business space, my guess is most of your clients are going to be on LinkedIn. And it's not always the case, but in general, that's going to hold true. LinkedIn is a great place to be in front of people. From there, it's just a matter of finding out where your audience is and going from there. But I would start with Facebook, branch out from there. If you're in the B2B space, I would definitely be on LinkedIn. And go from there. So John, I hope that answers your question. If you have more follow-up from there, just post again in the chat and I'll pop back to that. What do you think about paid social media ads? So Emily's asking a follow-up to John's question about social. Social ads can be very, very effective. They are getting more expensive. So they're not as cheap as they were, 3, 4, 5 years ago. The thing to keep in mind with social media ads compared to something like Google ads is Google ads, you can target keywords that people are searching that have buying intent, right? So you can target words where they're much further down what we call the customer journey. They're ready to buy. So you can convert Google leads much, much quicker. With paid social, people aren't going on to social media in general to buy something. They're going on there to interact with other people, and they get distracted by ads and follow those ads. So a lot of what you see with social media ads is not, buy X or, buy this product. It's especially in service businesses, they're much further up the buying journey. So they may be thinking about, doing business with somebody like you, but they're not ready to buy. So with social ads, you have to be prepared to nurture those people. So a lot of the social ads you see are for, checklists or cheat sheets. They may be for webinars, or free training. So they're getting people to opt into something, and then they're nurturing them either through a webinar where they can build credibility and rapport, and then they sell from the webinar, Or if it's something that somebody opts into, like a checklist or a cheat sheet, they may nurture them through email. And the email calls to action may then be jump on our webinar or get a free consultation or something like that. But there is some nurturing that needs to be done with social, with paid social, that you don't typically have to do when you take advantage of things like Google Ads, where you can target people that have much higher buying intent. But social ads are super effective. Paid ads in general are a great way to generate fast leads. A lot of the stuff that we get involved with from a marketing perspective takes time. It's an investment, so things like content. If you create a blog or you create a podcast, you're not going to generate immediate leads from that. It takes time. It's a 12 to 18 month investment. A lot of people don't like to hear that. So, what you can do while you're investing in those things is paid ads, if you have the budget, to generate more immediate leads while you're investing your marketing in other channels that they're gonna bear fruit, but they're gonna take longer to bear fruit. So Emily, I hope that answers the question. If you've got more follow-ups, then you just pop into that chat and I'll answer them. Got another question from Emily. Also wonder that the most effective ways are to build an email list. Mine is still pretty small, 100, yeah, but I don't understand how to grow it. So there's multiple ways to do this. First off, what I would say, email marketing is very low-hanging fruit for a lot of businesses. I talk to a lot of people that are not taking advantage of email marketing. It is so inexpensive, okay? It is, most of the platforms that are out there are going to be less than $20 a month for 500 contacts. So MailChimp, Constant Contact, Active Campaign is the one that we use. I'm not going to say it's the best. There's plenty of good ones out there. ConvertKit, but it's cheap. It's inexpensive. It is a great way to stay top of mind with your existing customers and with your potential customers. And it's a great way to nurture prospects until they get to the point where they're ready to buy and take that next step. If you don't have email, it's really hard to nurture people. Here's the other thing I'll tell you. Email, you own. That is an owned asset. The followers you have on Facebook or any other social media channel, you do not own. Facebook could shut your account down tomorrow and that is gone. So it's okay, think about social media as something that you rent. You're renting it, you're getting some benefits from it, but you want to try and get people from those rented channels to channels you own. You own your email list. That is a huge asset. So how can you build your email list? You need to offer things of value to people where they're going to opt in. Okay, so in the beginning of this, I told you, hey, if you want these free resources, go to this page. When you go to that page and opt in, you are going onto our email list. Okay, so that's one way to do it. You have to, it's not enough anymore. A lot of people, especially in service-based businesses, I think e-commerce can still get away with this, but 5 years ago, people might say, hey, sign up for my newsletter, and that was enough of a call to action to get people to do it. Nowadays, we get so much email, people don't want to sign up for newsletters unless they know that it's going to be of huge value. So you have to offer something of value to your target market for free to get them to opt in. So, again, that could be checklists or cheat sheets. For us, one of the lead magnets that we use is a checklist about how to eliminate the most common website problems. That's a value. If you got you're in business, you got a website, you don't want to make these mistakes. So people opt into that, they get value, they get some good information that they can use. And then from there, we nurture them, continue to provide additional information that's beneficial for them. And when they're ready, hopefully we're the ones that are top of mind because we've been communicating with them consistently. Things like webinars can be a great way to opt in to build your email list. Paid ads. Again, you can do paid ads where people are signing up for a webinar or some type of free workshop or a masterclass. All of those things, when people sign up, they are then going onto your email list, and that's how you're going to build your list. One of the things I will tell you is I would not get caught up in the vanity metric of how many people you have signed up on your list. You got about 100 people. If those 100 people are really engaged, those 100 people are way better than 1,000 or 10,000 that are not engaged at all. So don't get too caught up in the metric of how many people do I have. Think about how many people you have that are engaged. So when you look at, if you're taking advantage of email, you're sending out email marketing, keep this in mind. The average open rate is around 20 to 40%. That's really what you want to shoot for, is that 20 to 40% range. 5 years ago, you might have been able to get 75, 80% open rates. That's not going to happen now. So, I've had people go, man, I'm only getting 20% of the people to open it. That's actually pretty darn good. So keep that in mind as you start to take advantage of email. But the easiest way to build your list is to offer something of value that they want. And then once they opt in, they're on your list. Then you need to keep sending people valuable information that's going to help them and nurture them through the buyer journey until they get to the point where they're ready to buy. Next question is from Angela. Is there a threshold that a business needs to attain to begin to court sponsors? That really depends. It depends on how much the sponsorship is, what kind of exposure you're going to give them. It would help if I knew what type of business you were, but you're going to have to go out and talk to sponsors. You can talk to sponsors. I wouldn't wait. I would go out and try. If you think you can sell sponsorships, go talk to sponsors. You just need to make sure that it's priced competitively, so the exposure that they're going to get from that sponsorship is a good value compared to other sponsorships that they could be taking advantage of. So you need to think about, what's that sponsorship going to look like? How much value can you offer them? How much exposure can you offer them as part of that sponsorship? And how much is it? So the bottom line is, are they going to see value in the price? So early on, if you can't offer them a ton of exposure, you may not be able to charge as much. So you may have to start with a lower price, give them as much as you possibly can in value for that price. And then as your audience grows, then you can start to increase the price because the exposure is increasing. But whenever you look at anything from a marketing perspective, you're looking at exposure. What's the exposure that they're going to get? And how much value is that? How much return is that then going to give their business? Okay. Okay, Emily, thanks for the video info. I do some of that. How much do you recommend? I try to do Facebook Live weekly, but is weekly enough? She's recording and putting the content on Instagram, TV, and YouTube as well. So I will tell you guys, I am super partial to video content. I think weekly is enough, but the more you can do, the better. Okay, so if you can do twice a week or 3 times a week, then great. I just think the more content you put out, the better off you're going to be long term. But putting out content it's a lot of work. It's either going to take your time or somebody on your staff's time, or you're going to have to pay somebody to do it. So content takes time and money. Here's the great thing about video. One, outside of face-to-face meetings, video is an amazing way to connect with people. It's the best way to connect with people outside of face-to-face. The other great thing about video content is it can be repurposed very easily into other content. Okay, so I'll tell you exactly what we do with our Facebook Lives. I shoot a weekly Facebook Live every Friday. It's either me or I'm interviewing somebody else. We take that Facebook Live, we repurpose that into a YouTube video. We repurpose it and turn it into a podcast. So we pull the audio out and create a podcast. We take the video and the audio content, we transcribe it and we put all of that into a blog post. So we have a written blog post on that we do weekly, but then we have another blog post that is our podcast, Facebook Live video. And in that blog post is the video, the podcast audio, and the transcription. And then we're linking out to, resources from the episode. If we interviewed somebody, we're linking out to that, right? So we're getting a lot of mileage from that one video piece. Then the next thing that we're doing from that video is we create short form videos. So we create videos, we usually create 3 videos from each episode where they're 60 to 90 second clips that's valuable information. We take the video, we create captions for it, and then we market those on social media. So we repurpose those and send them out on all our social channels. So we're getting from one piece of video content, I've never counted it, but we're getting a ton of different content pieces that we can promote through our social channels and through our email list if we want to, but a lot of it we're doing through social media. So I love video. If you are uncomfortable doing video, just start doing it. You will get comfortable doing it. I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect on it. It shows our human side and our flaws, especially live video, but that's fine. It just lets people know that you're human and you're more relatable. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get with it. So I hope that helps. John, yep, constantly get bugged to pay for Facebook boosting. Is it worth it? Many tell me no. Yeah, here's the thing with boosting. It's with boosting posts. So there's boosting posts and then there's paid ads on Facebook. What Facebook does with boosting posts, they just make it easy. Okay, and it's just like, hey, do you want to boost this post? Throw some money at it, $5, $10. You say yes, you boost the post, and it's done. It's easy. It can be effective. It can still be a good way to get your information in front of people. The challenge with boosting is you don't have the capability to really target who it's being boosted to. Facebook is doing that based on what they know about your company. Whereas if you were to take that same Facebook post and actually promote it through a Facebook ad, you have a lot more capability to target the audience that you specifically want to target. So I know people that do it. It's inexpensive. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. So it's easy. What I would tell you is to test it. Okay. Throw $5 or $10 at a few posts and see what happens. What kind of engagement are you getting? Are you getting people to like and follow your page? But see what happens. It may work good for you. I know people that have had good success with it, but then I know people that don't at all. We tend to lean more towards the Facebook ad side of it rather than boosting, but boosting does make it simple and easy. You just need to make sure that if you do it, that you know the return that you're getting from it. So if it's not working great, no big deal. You spent a little less than $50 to try it and test it and see what happened. And if it does work, great, you can keep doing it. Yeah, so Amy says the same thing. I've heard heard the same thing too, but you're wondering. So I hope that helps. If you guys have more questions on that, just post again in chat and I can dig deeper into that. But I would test it for you to see if it works. But there are a lot of people that lean much more towards the Facebook ad side of it because you can get much more specific with your audience targeting. And then Alon is asking, is there still any value to using traditional print marketing like flyers, rack cards, etc.? It depends on your business. You need to test it. So one of the things that you can do if you are using print advertising, whether that's direct mail or you're putting flyers somewhere, make sure that you can track it. Okay, so there are tools out there. There's call tracking software like CallRail or PhoneWagon are a couple that come to mind. CallRail is really, really popular. But with CallRail allows you, they give you a specific phone number. You can use a different phone number for different campaigns. And when people call from that, you know exactly how many responses you got from that ad. Okay, so that's the important part. The important part of marketing to me is being able to track the results of the activity that you take. Because if you can do that, then you can start to identify what's working for you and what's not, and get rid of the stuff that's not and double down on the stuff that is. So with print marketing materials, just make sure you can track it. If your call to action is a phone number, then I would recommend that you use some type of call tracking software. If your call to action is you want them to go to a website, well, then make sure that you have a URL that you can track. And there are things, I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole here, but there are things called UTM codes and you can do UTM codes through Google, and Google will then allow you, it'll track the activity from that specific UTM code. So what I would recommend you do, there's a few things you could do. One, you could create a short URL that links to that UTM code so that you can track that specific ad. Or what you could do, if you're gonna use that ad medium over and over again, you could buy a URL and use a general URL that then links to that UTM code, but you have to have some way to track what you're doing. If the other thing you could do, like if it's a coupon, right? You could have a coupon code of some kind and track it that way. But here's what I'll tell you. There are a lot of people that are not using print materials anymore. And because of that, there may not be as much competition. And there are still plenty of people, especially like home service-based businesses that are doing direct mail. That stuff still works. I mean, people they're not doing it because it doesn't work, but you need to test it. And the only way for you to test it is to do it and make sure that you can track what results you get. That's how you're then going to determine whether it's something that you should continue doing. Next question I got, social media marketing strikes me as bit spray and pray. Yeah. Where does just simply meeting with people, either one-on-one or in conference, etc., that kind of investment strikes me as actually more efficient, even though it is a smaller initial number? I guess, yeah, so he's talking about word of mouth. What role does that play? So here's what I'll tell you. Referrals, networking, one-on-one meetings, especially one-on-one meetings with potential clients or strategic partners, people that are doing business with your audience, who may be able to refer you, not just one client, but clients over and over again, you should not be overlooked, okay? A lot of the businesses that we come across have built very large businesses off of a referral. What they're finding though is referrals only takes you so far. If you really want to scale a business, you have to have other marketing channels that are bringing in leads outside of just referrals and strategic partner relationships. But absolutely, that's where I tell most people to start. It's the easiest place for most people to start, is getting out and building relationships, talking to people. Now, is what we're dealing with right now, that's a little bit different, but hey, Zoom is here, thank God. It makes things a lot easier. We can still see each other face to face, still connect, and that's great. So I would absolutely do it. From social media, I wouldn't necessarily say it's spray and pray. It's more, initially, when people set up social media channels and they don't have a following, I see the activity that you're taking on social, the posts that you're putting out there, more as credibility building than anything else. Not a lot of people are going to see those, but guess what happens? And this is super important when you're doing a lot of referral business, you're getting a lot of referrals. You still need to have an online presence. You still need to have a great website, because guess what? People mention you and say, oh, hey, you need to go talk to Tim. Here's the name of his company. Where are they going? They go to your website. Do they like what they see? Does it instill confidence in them? Oh, I see he's got links to some social channels. Let me go check those out. Oh, their last social post was 8 months ago. Are they still in business? What the hell are they doing? That doesn't establish credibility. But if they go to your social channels, check them out, and they see, oh, cool, they're putting out some helpful content. This is good stuff. They're posting consistently. Cool, they're active. It just is a good, strong signal that you're in business, you're active there, you know what you're doing. Cool, good. Not a lot of people are seeing that stuff, but it's helping establish your credibility. To get and build a following on social media, you can't just post content and hope people are going to see it. You have to start getting, it's social media, you have to get social. So just like you do offline, you have to start interacting with people online. Reshare other people's content and tag them or mention them, right? When you mention people on most social channels, they get notifications that you mention them. Great, I just stayed top of mind. I just let somebody know that I reshared their content. They may then start to check that out and start to comment on your stuff. You know, you can go to other people's content and comment on it to stay in front of them. That's how people start to build larger social followings. It's not just the activity of putting out and posting great information. It's interacting with other people. You have to find ways to interact with other people. That could just be through standard profiles. It could be in groups, you know, Facebook or LinkedIn groups that people join, and you just start meeting people and getting social there. So, you know, that building one-on-one relationships can happen face-to-face, but there are a lot of people that have built really successful relationships by starting to interact and get social on social media as well. And with what we're dealing with this whole pandemic, that is not a bad way to do it. So let me make sure I answered that entire question. Yeah, okay. I think I did, but if I didn't, you just post in the chat and I'll jump in again. Next question I've got is an entrepreneur who's also working a job. Yep, so time. Yes, time is extremely limited. Where should I spend the bulk of my time offering value, newsletters, blog, etc., social media, or other? If I were you and your time is limited, I would initially start, and one of the things I'm not seeing here is like, do you have existing clients or are you just getting started? If you're just getting started, I would be spending my time starting to build relationships with strategic partners who can start to refer you business. Because in order for you got to start doing business. If you're going to get out of your day job and get into this, you have to get clients. So I would focus my stuff on my efforts on things that are going to get me clients the fastest. Sending out, you know, email, it's not going to take a lot of time. So if you've got a small email list, you can absolutely do that. And I would recommend that to stay in front of people. But I would start by building relationships, knowing that some of these relationships are going to take a little bit of time. But the other thing that's important to keep in mind that goes back to the fundamentals that I mentioned in the beginning, you have to have a clear understanding of your target market. Who are your ideal clients? And you have to have good messaging because, you know, you need to be able to communicate the value that you offer and how you help people very clearly when you start to go out and build relationships with people, because they're going to ask. And if you can't do that, you are going to struggle to develop strong relationships there, which is why I always talk about going back to the fundamentals first. The other thing is, if you don't understand who your target market is, you know, I'm trying to reach any small business owner. I think it's going to be a lot harder to find the right people to connect with who can refer you business that'll be good referral partners. But if you know exactly, if you're focused on, you know, attorneys, or, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that specific, but if it was, I do business with attorneys, I help attorneys do X, well, then you can start to think about, okay, what other people know attorneys, that are in front of attorneys. And those are the people you can start to reach out to start to develop relationships, because you both may be able to help one another.
Can I pop
That's
in?
where I would start first, and then start to expand from there as you have time. But when you're trying to do two things at once, you have to really focus on only the most essential things that are going to start to move the needle. And where most people that are just starting a business get their business first is referrals from people that they already know that are within their network. So I would be working your network for people, one, that you could do business with directly, but then also people that could start to refer you business.
Okay.
Um,
Since you're paused, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just getting people talking about vanity metrics and numbers that aren't as important. Because I'll tell you, when it comes to metrics, what's the most important metric from a marketing perspective? To me, it's, are you getting new customers? Are you getting new customers? And then understanding, hey, how many leads did we bring in this month? And how many of those leads did we then convert to new customers? To me, those are two of the most important things that you need to know, because once you understand those numbers, then you can start to, over time, you're going to know, okay, we need to get 10 new leads. And for every 10 new leads we get one new client. Or maybe it's for every 5 leads we get one new client. Whatever that metric is for you, it's then okay, great. So if we want to get 10 new clients this month, we need to generate X amount of leads. How are we going to do that? So look, I was a math major. I can get lost in the metrics and analysis all day long. You really need to focus on the metrics that are most important. And if you want to get into the weeds later, you can, but in the beginning, I think it's so important to just keep things as simple as possible. Okay, Angela's asking me, Explorus is a directory style travel resource which will empower people with limited mobility to find everything from attractions and tours to adventures and trails where mobility details are featured. Okay, Angela, hold on. I think you were asking. I think that was, oh, yes. Yeah, so that's the sponsor question that came up earlier. So I think I answered your question, but if I did not, post in again and I'll do that. But for a travel directory, you're just gonna have to show them what you're doing. And initially, so it's a website, you want sponsors for the website. So I'm assuming you're selling some type of sponsorship placement, or it might be placement in your newsletter. Anywhere you can give sponsors placement on your site and in any of your communications, I think that's where you're going to want to do it. Initially, if you don't have a lot of traffic, because typically what sponsorships on the web, what sponsorships look for typically is, a cost per impression, which basically is cost per, how much does it cost per 1,000 impressions? That's typically what it is. So it's CPM is the acronym for that. So you're going to have to kind of look at that, but I would try and find people that see the value in what you're doing, because this is super niche, which I love. You know who your target market is. It's people with limited mobility. You want to make it easy for them to find places that are going to work for them, right? Which I can only imagine what that is like when you try to go on vacation. You can't find what you want. This is a super cool idea. You just need to find initially the sponsors that care about that, that are willing to help, because it really seems like what you're doing is very mission driven. There are people that are going to be willing to get involved in that because they love what you're doing. Just find something that's going to be mutually beneficial for you guys and get some of these people involved from a sponsorship standpoint. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left, and so I'm going to just keep hustling. And by the way, you guys are firing away questions, which is great. So I love this. How can you find out what others are charging for sponsors? This is gonna be a little bit more challenging because sometimes people aren't really gonna publish that information. I would reach out to people that you know and just see what they say. Hey, I'm trying to figure out what I should charge for sponsorships. Have you guys done sponsorships before? What do those look like? I would jump on Google, since this is, if I'm understanding correctly, there's online. Just do a Google search for typical CPM or cost per impression for website placement, and you'll get a lot of good information from there as well. And then from there, you can kind of just, make a decision from there. But my guess is this is gonna have to be pretty expensive in the beginning if you don't have traffic already coming to the site. But I would start with your network, do some online research. What do typical sponsorships cost? That type of stuff. All the information you need is online. There's a lot of good information out there. It may not get you 100% of the way there, but I think you'll be able to get enough information, 75 to 80% of the information you need, and then you can make a decision from there and just test it and refine it as you go. Do you have to, so Angela's asking, do you have to be on camera during videos to gain the exposure for educational purposes? For educational purposes, I don't think you have to. So if it's a webinar or a workshop, I don't think you have to be face-to-face. I don't think you have to be on video. What I will tell you is I think it's more effective if you are on video. So I don't know, just think about what we're doing right now. You guys are seeing me. If I had just done this and you weren't seeing me, I don't know if you would connect as well. Look, if you're not comfortable with it, I would tell you you're better off just starting and doing it without video than you are not. So even if you're putting out good content that's educational, that's helping people solve problems and help them get to where they want to be, you are going to build credibility no matter what. Yep, Emily's saying short form video. Yeah, so, and look, I'm not a video editor. I don't do that. You don't have to either. There are plenty of people out there who love doing this kind of stuff who can do that. So, we have full-time people that do that. But if you don't, there are sites like Fiverr or freelancer.com. Fiverr is Fiverr. I believe, let me just make sure I'm not, yep, Fiverr.com. And Fiverr has all kinds of people that will do video editing on a project by project basis, that type of stuff. If you want resources for video captions, there's a lot of them out there. The one that we use is called Happy Scribe. I'm gonna put these in the chat. So Fiverr, freelancer.com. Happy Scribe it's AI based. So it's less expensive. It's not 100% accurate. You're going to have to play with it a little bit, but we use them for transcription and for video captions, and it works great. But if you don't like Happy Scribe, just do a Google search, video captions, AI, or AI video captions or AI transcriptions. Rev.com is another one that I know people have used. They have, I believe, an AI-based and a human-based. So the human-based is a little bit more expensive, but they do a really good job with transcriptions and captions. So go back up and make sure I'm not missing something here. Yeah. Can you do FB video and watch it before it goes? Yeah, no. So Facebook Live. So the question is, can you do Facebook Live, but not have it be live immediately? It doesn't work that way. It's a live video. What I will tell you is most people are not watching it live. Okay, most of your exposure on Facebook Live is coming after the fact. Okay, so I wouldn't be worried about it. I will tell you, the first few times I did it, yeah, was I nervous? Yeah, I was a little nervous. But the more I do it, the more comfortable I get. Again, I'm still not perfect. I make mistakes, but you just get more and more comfortable with it, and you just expand your comfort zone and run with it. So, do you receive FB Live, FB ads? Okay, so she's talking about how do Facebook ads actually work? When do you recommend start doing it? It's really a matter of what you can invest. I mean, you can do Facebook ads. If you have money to do it, I would do it. You can generate leads from it, but you have to make sure that you have the systems in place to nurture those leads. So if you're just going to put up Facebook ads to, get more likes, you can do that. I don't think that's worth it. I think you want to use Facebook to generate leads that are going to go onto your email list, which, remember, you own, and then you can nurture from there. So you have to have your email marketing in place and some of those systems in place to be able to really take advantage of those Facebook ads. When you're ready to do Facebook ads, you will go into the Facebook Ads Manager. And honestly, this is way too in-depth to cover on something like this. But within the Facebook Ads Manager, that is how you will start to then create your ads. You can create ads using images. You can create ads with videos and calls to action. What I would recommend you do, and honestly, if you go to our website, rialtomarketing.com, and you go to our blog, and just type in Facebook ads, there's a bunch of articles that are there. I would also just go to Google and just, how do I set up my first Facebook ads campaign? And there's all kinds of information out there to help walk you through that. If you want to have somebody help you with it, you can certainly do that. Here's the thing you got to understand: when Facebook ads, paying to have somebody manage your Facebook ads is not cheap. So, typically, if you're not going to be spending at least $1,000 a month in ads, it can be really difficult to justify the spend, because most people, you're going to spend at least $500 to $750 a month for them to manage your Facebook ads. Some of the people that are really good are going to charge a hell of a lot more than that. So it can be a delicate balancing act. With paid Google ads, we charge $600 a month to manage ad spend for Google ads. So it's a little bit more reasonable. But again, it just depends on how many leads are you generating, and are you getting a return on investment for that? As long as you're getting a return on investment, then it's fine. Okay. 10 minutes. So I'm going to keep going and give you guys as much value as I can here. Can you record your Facebook Lives via Zoom and do the editing things to repurpose? Yes, you can. So within Zoom, you can use Zoom. So within Zoom, you can actually, when you open up a Zoom meeting and you click on more down at the bottom, you have the ability to publish that to Facebook Live. So Zoom is definitely an easy way to do it. I don't use Zoom. I use a software called StreamYard, and I'll put this in the chat. StreamYard is amazing. StreamYard, it allows you, the interface is so easy to use. I don't like doing Facebook Lives right through the Facebook interface because it's just clunky, and half the time you hit the live button and you're not quite sure when you went live, whereas through StreamYard, you know exactly once you're live. And so you're not sitting there going, oh, are we live yet? Oh yeah, okay, cool, we're live. You can just start and jump right into it. The other thing StreamYard allows you to do, one, you can stream to multiple channels at the same time. So they have API access. So if you want to connect with specific platforms, you can. But you can connect directly with YouTube Live, with LinkedIn Live, Facebook. So you can stream to multiple channels at the same time. It allows you to, once it's done, download the recording and the audio file so that you can then easily repurpose how you need to. The recording quality is better through StreamYard than it is right on Facebook Live. So when you repurpose, if you try to repurpose from Facebook Live directly, the video quality is awful. So using something like StreamYard, when you repurpose, allows you to have much better quality video. StreamYard, I want to say I pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 a month for it. They do have a higher end option. I think that's like $50. So it's not a lot of money. If you're going to be doing Facebook Lives or live video in general consistently, I would highly recommend taking a look at it. It works great. And for people like me that aren't like super technical with video and video editing and all that, it allows you to put together a pretty professional looking live video with backgrounds and banners at the bottom really, really easily. So, but you can use Zoom if you want to get started using Zoom first to make sure, get your feet wet and play with it a little bit. You can certainly start there. With StreamYard, the interface is a lot better in my opinion. Yeah, Emily's saying she doesn't think you can do Facebook Lives right through Facebook Live interface. I don't know. Up to about 3 months ago, you could. So I don't know if they changed that. Maybe they did, but I'm pretty sure from your Facebook page, you can start a live video. But honestly, I'm not 100% positive because I haven't done it for months. I've just been using StreamYard, and it's so much easier. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? We have 6 minutes, so I plowed through all those questions. I hope you guys got a ton of value from it. But if you do have a few last minute questions, just put them in chat and I'll do my best to answer them before we're done. While I'm waiting, if you guys, so I do these Ask Me Anythings through SCORE once a month. Okay, so this is the first time you've gone on this. Just keep an eye on the calendar. I do them once a month. I do 2 other workshops for SCORE, and I rotate one every other month. One is on messaging, so how to create great messaging, and I go through a storytelling framework that we use. The other one is, a companion to that, which is about your website. How to create a great website. Go through some of the different website building tools that are out there, some of the essential elements that you need to have on your website to make sure that it's effective and that it works. There are tons of web design people out there that make pretty sites, but a pretty site isn't going to do much if the content on it doesn't make sense and it's not engaging. So I flip-flop on those. If either one of those would be beneficial for you, certainly check it out. SCORE is also they do all kinds of workshops. So keep an eye on the SCORE Denver calendar because you may find other workshops that would help you in your business as well. Yeah, can I type in my website, which is rialtomarketing.com. So I just put that in the chat. Sue, you can access the recording. Go to, sorry. Sue, go to the link that I just put in here, rialtomarketing.com/AMA. Put your name and your email in there. You will get the link. That link has the free resources and it has all the past AMA recordings as well. And as soon as I have the new one, I'll upload that up in there. Then there was another question here. Alon, I'm trying to find your question in here. Oh, here. So Alon had a question about teaches Spanish music classes for ages 0 to 6, adult participation. No existing clients to market to, offer free demos for people to try class, but not getting many signups. I want to try to do free events like family dance parties. But would that be better on FB Live or Zoom with enrollment? Yeah, so that's an interesting idea. One of the things that I would tell you, obviously what we're dealing with from with the pandemic, I think is making in-person classes challenging. There's plenty of people that, have no issues getting out there and doing things. There are also plenty of people that are a little bit more cautious, and if they don't have to have an interaction with people, they may not. And so I think you may be running into a little bit of that. So I would recommend testing it. You can certainly do some of the in-person stuff. You just need to make sure that I think and communicate clearly to people, hey, this is how we're doing in person when we do it. This is what we're doing to keep you and your kids protected, and as safe as possible. But then you can also, with the technology that's out there, Facebook Live, you could do Facebook Live. The thing I'm not sure about on Facebook Live, because I've never done this, I don't know if you can restrict Facebook Lives and do enrollment. That is what I'm not positive on, because I've always done it where it's just being broadcast to the world. With Zoom, if you wanted to do enrollment, I know for a fact you can do that, because then you're just not sharing the enrollment link or the link to the meeting until they've actually enrolled. But I think having some type of virtual option as well is going to help you. So I would recommend doing virtual and in person if you can. It sounds like you were doing in person before. I think free demos for people to try the class is absolutely essential. It's a great way for you to build. It's kind of a try before you buy. Have people come in. You just want to make sure that when people enroll, right? The thing with the Facebook Live, if you do a Facebook Live, and again, I'm not sure if you can have people enroll in that Facebook Live. I think if you're going to do free classes, you absolutely want to capture contact information, because if you can't capture contact information and follow up with them, I think it's going to be much harder for you to close leads. So do an online enrollment, do the free class, but then have a clear call to action at the end of it, and have some type of plan in place for how you're going to follow up and nurture those people to figure out whether they want to take the next step. So Alon, I hope that helps. Got a couple other messages here. Emily's asking, I'm an outdoor education organization trying to market to local homeschool parents, okay, on Facebook. However, there isn't a homeschool parent selection option when targeting the ad. There are homeschool Facebook groups that are perfect demographics, but I don't want to be, well, so what you can do is you can target people that find the groups, find the people that they follow. So you can get involved in the groups, right? I understand what you're talking about, not spamming the groups, but you can target Facebook group. You can target people that are in that Facebook group with your ads, or you can target, there may be other groups that people that are in homeschool follow or like. You can target people that follow and like those groups. That's how I would get your targeting down. If you're doing paid ads. So, right, so if you're doing paid ads, you can say, I want to target people that like this. If you're getting involved in those Facebook groups, just offer things of value. As long as you're offering things of value, right? So if somebody asks a question in that Facebook group about a problem they're having, and your outdoor education opportunities will help solve those, totally okay to talk about those things, right? So just be careful about how you're doing it and make sure that you're coming from a place of value when you're interacting with people in Facebook groups, and I think you're totally fine. Okay. I think I got that, but guys, we're over time. I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you for coming. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If you do have other questions, certainly reach out, and I'll get this recording back up to the link so that those of you that opt in get access to that, and we can go from there. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week. Take care.